Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 151. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This week we got a little bit of a shorter group. Tony tried to make it on, but he was having some technical difficulties. So it looks like it's just me and Rob for the meantime. How's it going, Rob?
It is going phenomenal. How are you doing, Ryan?
Oh, not too bad. I think Chad might jump on. He said that due to some prior engagements, it might not be till 6:30. So in about 40 minutes, 40 minutes, he might just hop on. If I know him, he might try. Or he might just take the day off. So
we're gonna have to talk their pay.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So it should be a pretty quick one. I do have a review to talk about this week. It's the AAC Blast Out, the Blast Diverter, and in products we got a cool AK product to talk about too. So let's get into what we did in guns this week. Did you do any trigger pulling, Rob?
Well, trigger pulling, no trigger pulling, but I did work with the Treasure Coast Friends of the NRA for our banquet last Friday night, and that was actually a really good time. I bought a few things off the silent auction, won a few things. There was some guns that just went for wicked stupid money. I mean, there was a engraved shotgun that went for $2,500, and it was just a Remington, I think a Remington 870 that they just engraved with the NRA logo and a few other things. A couple people bid it up, and man, it went for crazy money. Overall for that night, I think we raised somewhere around $50,000 for the NRA Foundation, which gives money back to the states and back to the local areas for shooting events, ranges, stuff like that. So it's a really, really good event, and that all goes back to the shooting sports.
Cool. Well, I didn't really get to. I was gonna go shooting. I got an invite from actually two guys from the Firearms Radio Network. They're on the Off-Road podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard the Off-Road podcast, but turns out we live in the same state. So they had invited me to go out four-wheeling with them. And they were going to go shooting too. So a little extra incentive to go. I had all my stuff packed. I was just going to take my AK and my pistol, my little SIG P938. And then at the last minute, it started raining real bad, which it hasn't rained for a while here. So my dad needed some help with his chores. It became a two-man job instead of a one-man job. So I ended up having to back out, and I was pretty bummed about it too, because apparently all the people that went were Pro 2A. They had a real fun time, and the rain cleared up as soon as they hit the trail. So I kind of missed out. I was looking forward to meeting some more of the FRN guys, but I'll be sure to do that at another time. So it's was it Samuel and Benjamin? I think those are their names. I'm not going to cheat and look up Facebook right now. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I've been working on some really cool stuff, more reviews, obviously, and I'm actually developing a precision rifle data book for a client. So it's kind of been taking up most of my time in the last week and a half. So I'm trying to make it original and not rip off anybody else's, and incorporate things that I find useful that not a lot of other books incorporate all together. You know, not just like range data for going to the range and jotting down the performance of your rifle and all the other factors, but some load data as well, and some quick reference stuff for your optic, and trying to really make it simple enough to understand and not super like tactical, that goes over most people's heads because they're not a scout sniper or anything like that. So stay tuned for that. That should be going here soon. I'll announce when it's ready to go, so you guys can check it out. So I think that's about it. We're going to get on to the bandwidth sponsor and the announcements. So the bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co. That's obviously me and Jake pumping out awesome patches for you guys, as well as some t-shirts and other products. So we've got the smaller projectile Pete which is a rip off of a common video game character. Not really a rip off, I'd say an homage, but we made it in a smaller version this time. And we've also got a Patch of the Month Club coming up soon. So you'll be able to, I think it's going to be like $15, and you'll get an exclusive patch every month and a matching sticker. So I'm going to be pumping out more patches every month, and that's going to be the only way you can get those is by joining the Patch of the Month Club. And so it'll be pretty cool. The first one is pretty awesome. I think a lot of guys are going to like it. So as soon as I get that up on the website, I'll announce this on the show too. Sorry, I got a couple of like future things I get to tease you about, but I can't really reveal yet. Also, the TGC Gear store is up. That is something that you guys can go take advantage of right now. So I've got the Gun Collective website up. I worked on that with John, and then he wanted to be able to sell gear. So we've got tgcgear.com, and that has his some patches and shirts that I designed, and me and Jake at Patriot Patch Co. are fulfilling those for him. So every $5 you spend at the TGC Gear website is an entry into a giveaway, and he's giving away a really nice rifle that's about $3,500, and then he's giving away or is it $3,000, and then he's giving away a hunting trip that's about $15,000. So a total prize value of $4,500. So that's going on right now. If you want to head over there and check out some of the patches, we're going to be launching new products in small, short intervals so that it doesn't get boring looking at the same material, same swag every now and then. So stay tuned for that, for new stuff to come out. It's always going to get better and better for the products that I've designed for John there. We also have a new listener support program. So if you head on over to firearmsradio.tv and go to the pledge page, you can support the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Whatever shows are your favorite. If you happen to like this show and you want to support us, that money is going to go right into get a new product to review. You can do that as well. And there's different levels of pledging or support. So there's a small amount from a cup of coffee a day. And the rewards that you get for your pledge amount obviously get greater the higher money you pledge. So head on over to that if you're interested. And Black Bag Resources has a coupon code for the next month. So don't get it twisted, all one word. It gets 10% off anything in the survival category in recognition for National Preparedness Month, and that expires October 11th. So them's the announcements. They're getting longer, it seems. So on to the main topic. I'm going to be reviewing the AAC Blast Out, and we talked about this 10 shows ago on episode 141, and I already have it, and I've already shot it a little bit, and can form an educated opinion on this. There's not a whole lot of reviews on the Blast Out on the internet right now. I looked all over and couldn't find any on commerce websites where you can buy this thing. There are quite a few YouTube videos, though. Obviously, something like this, you screw it on and it affects your muzzle blast. That's quite interesting to film and actually post on YouTube. So that there are some YouTube videos up there, and I've posted some links to that. Brownells has a pretty good spotlight video when it kind of came out, and they've added it to their website for purchase. They have a really nice video taking it on, putting it off, and showing the displacement of the ground and the grass underneath the shooter, underneath the muzzle. There's a couple of videos like that online. So what it is, it's a blast diffuser. And it makes use of AAC's existing 51 tooth or 90 tooth ratcheting muzzle devices. So on my Tavor here, I have the 2-chamber break. I think they call this the breakout. And this is one of 3 muzzle devices that AAC offers. They also have a 3-pronged flash hider, and then they have a kind of a flash hider break hybrid, where it's got a little little tiny 3 prongs on the end, but it also has 1 chamber for the muzzle brake. So obviously, if you owned a suppressor, or if you have one coming like I do, it ratchets onto this system. That's the whole point. Well, now they just released this blast diverter, the blast out, for you to use when you don't have your suppressor mounted on here, or maybe you're still waiting for your NFA tax stamp to get out of jail, waiting for your Form 4 to come in. So the blast diverter goes right on the muzzle brake, and it ratchets, and you're done. It's on there. And so what it does is it directs the concussive forces and a lot of the debris forward and away of the away from the shooter. And there's quite a bit of controversy with people who look at this product, look at the price tag, and then they immediately cut it down, saying, well, that's perfectly useless. Like, why would you waste all your money? Man, people are really dumb these days. The harsh criticism is that, hey, you've got a muzzle brake for a reason, to divert those gases and help mitigate recoil. If you're putting on this basically cylinder to go around the muzzle brake, aren't you then basically canceling out that negative force? And why would you bother doing that? Why don't you just take off the brake and put on a flash hider if you don't want to create any kind of sideways and rearward muzzle blast? And that's a good point, but in using it, actually buying it, putting my money where my mouth is, and actually giving the thing a try before I form any kind of opinion on it, which I think is a problem for a lot of the talking heads on the internet these days, is that it's actually kind of convenient and nice to have. And it's been fun testing it with and without the blast out attached to my muzzle device. So obviously, of the 3 AAC muzzle devices that they have, this breakout, this 2-chamber muzzle brake, is going to be the one that benefits most from the blast out. The flash hider, not so much. Flash hiders don't really create any extra concussive force to the left and the right of you. They just kind of hide that the flash of that burning powder at the muzzle. Whereas the 2-chamber one, obviously, it's directly diverting gases sideways and increasing the volume and that concussive force. You're shooting at the range with one of these things on. You're really not making friends. You're kind of just blasting the people to the left and to the right of you while you're shooting. And a lot of people prefer that because it makes them scoot down a space, a bench, and it kind of gives you some privacy. Really tight and crowded ranges, it's not really my problem. You come to a shooting range, you kind of expect to shoot next to people. Some people have to double up ear protection when they're next to somebody who has one of these. So I think at the least it's nice to have extra earplugs. So if somebody with muffs next to you is complaining, you can just throw a package of earplugs to them, say, hey, here you go, double up, and stop complaining. But I digress. So the blast out is really nice because when you put it on, especially when you've got this mean little bad boy here that doesn't really make friends at the range, it puts that concussive force forward toward downrange and away from you and away from the people to your left and your right on the benches. And so it kind of reduces that problem altogether. I like it a lot. And if you have a suppressor, I mean, you don't really need this if you have the suppressor attached to your gun, because obviously a suppressor is the ultimate blast diffuser, because you don't get any of the blast forces, or you get severely less amount, and it's kind of all directed and reduced going out the end of the suppressor. I'm obviously waiting for my suppressor to come. I got an M4 2000 when I went to the NRA show this last year. And in waiting for that, I made sure that I got the muzzle brakes that are compatible with it, the 51 tooth mounts from AAC. And in the meantime, I thought it would be cool to try the blast out. It gives me kind of a sense for how the ratcheting works, so I'm already used to it by the time my suppressor finally comes in. And it also gave me a very good indicator of what accessories I could have running on my Tavor that would have interfered with my suppressor. For example, I had a flashlight inside of my handguard here, and it was sticking out underneath the muzzle. Well, being that I've installed this brake and put the blast out on here, I saw that, no, that flashlight's going to not work. It's going to impede mounting the suppressor, so I took it off. So that was kind of nice by that point too. So running through the key points, actually before I get to that, I'll get to kind of the argument. Why would you want one of these? Say you don't have a suppressor. Why even have the 51 tooth mount at all? Some people just like the look of them. And if some people that live in a state that doesn't yet have suppressor legal laws, or they're hoping to one day get a suppressor, but they just haven't put in the paperwork yet, it's kind of forward planning. Get a muzzle device that works, that serves a purpose, and then also has the additional functionality of having that quick detach system. And the 51 tooth has been around for a number of years now. And although AAC has since moved to the 90 tooth taper mount, that's the new hotness, the 51 tooth is like still really good. So anyway, this allows you to obviously maintain the shortest overall length for like an entry carbine or a PDW. If you're using your rifle indoors and really close quarters, like in hallways, this puts those concussive forces forward and less likely to have it like hit the walls next to you and affect both you and your friendlies by that force. Then obviously shooting at the bench unsuppressed, it's a really nice thing to have. Actually shooting this to VOR, because of the overall shortened overall length of this thing, having the blast out was really noticeable, because when I took it off and I first shot, I could feel on my arm the unburnt powder and I'm sure lead and copper debris hitting my arm every time, because when I was shooting and having my support arm gripping underneath the handguard and having my elbow slightly bent, I could feel those hitting me. And putting this on actually throws all that forward. So it obviously does its job. So I would say anyone who's running a bullpup or a SBR or maybe like an AR pistol would definitely benefit from having the blast out, because it's when you have a shorter barrel, for one, a shorter barrel meaning like shorter than 16 inches, the unburnt powder is going to be more of a factor, and it's going to be louder and more concussive. Most people should know that. Even though this bullpup has a 16-inch barrel, the fact that the muzzle is closer to me because it's a bullpup, it also benefits from the blast out in the same way. So now I'll get on to the 8 key points here. So claim to fame: the blast out encloses the gassed exhaust ports of the muzzle device and shields the shooter and nearby personnel from the concussive effects of lateral and rearward escaping muzzle gases. Target market, obviously AR-15, AK-47, and other rifle owners, bullpup owners, AR pistol owners, carbines, PDWs, pistol caliber carbines. The nice thing about this is that if whatever caliber you have, if you can put a 51 tooth or a 90 tooth AAC muzzle device on your gun, have it be the right caliber, this could jump off of this 5.56 bullpup and go on a 308 AR-10 using the 51 tooth 30 caliber muzzle device. It'll still work with either. So it is really multi-caliber and multi-rifle compatible. It only weighs 6 ounces. It's 2.5 inches in total length. The body is 1.5, so 1.5 on the body. However, at the latch, the latch that you press down to be able to unscrew it without it actually gripping onto those little ratchet points, it's 1.57 at the latch. So if you're trying to use this as a little bit of a, if you've got like a short barrel and a longer handguard and you've got that overhang or the overlapping there, and you're using this to extend the muzzle past at least closer to the end of the handguard or forward of the handguard by half an inch or an inch, keep in mind that if you're covering up the latch with the handguard, you're going to have a hard time actually getting to the latch without like muzzling your own hand. or removing the handguard entirely. But if you've got, a handguard that's, 1.65 inside diameter, just keep in mind that that latch really makes it 157. And it does have a nitride finish. It is steel. It looks like it's made from a billet. So it's really nice quality as far as the construction goes. Color is black only. What other people are saying, obviously we don't read those on the air, but even if I did, I couldn't find any like third-party reviews yet. I just found some Brownell's Spotlight video and some people that did some just like hashtag not a review, like overview of the device on YouTube on their channels, but they never really formed an opinion. So it was just kind of a real quick overview video just to ride the hype train when this first came out. Price point is $150 is the MSRP. Retail though, Midway has it, Brownells has it. You can buy it straight from the AAC website at full price. The cheapest I found the blast out is Roughneck Firearms online, and they had it for $120.72. That's the cheapest I found. I think Brownells is 144. Midway, I think, is 130 something. I'm pulling it up right here, 139.99. So they're $5 cheaper than Brownells. But that Roughneck Firearm seemed to be the cheapest cost that I could find. So my rating, I gave it an 8.5 as great. My pros, works on all existing AC 51 tooth mounts regardless of caliber and device type. So the flash hider, the compensator, or the brake, or the 90 tooth mounts if you got the 90 tooth blast out instead of the 51 tooth blast out. So the ratcheting attachment can be heard and felt. So if you're in the dark or at night and for some reason you want to attach this blast out, it's really easy to tell without looking at it, just by hearing the ratchets and feeling each detent when it's fully tightened down. The design incorporates flats on the body as well as finger grooves on the end to assist in your grip for really securing and removing it. Really helps. If this was just all one solid cylinder, I would imagine that you wouldn't have a whole lot of leverage to tighten it down all the way. The way they design the body kind of mimics the new SR5 suppressors. They've kind of got this tail end that's got these finger grooves on here. It really makes it nice when screwing it on there to get it on tight first time and without screwing it up. So it does obviously do its job in directing gases, lead, and other debris forward. I tried to take some video of this at the range, have my dad shoot the Tavor and me film on my iPhone the debris, and I could see the kind of the gas cloud go forward with my bare eye, but the camera on the phone really didn't pick it up. So it's really hard to film. I do have a new camera coming. I'm hoping to maybe step up my actual video review game here. But I did witness with my eye the big difference in it going sideways and it blowing that cloud of crap forward. And obviously for me, I know it sounds stupid, but it's something to attach to your gun and kind of play with while you're waiting for your NFA tax stamp. The weight is the hardest part in the NFA game, especially if you have multiple guns that have, you're kind of planning out if you're getting a 30 cal suppressor. It uses the 51 tooth or the 90 tooth, and you want to put it on multiple caliber guns. It's kind of nice to be able to think, okay, well, when I have the suppressor on my AK, I'll put the blast out on my AR, and vice versa when I want to swap in between. So cons, there's not a whole lot of negatives to this thing other than the fact that it is expensive, yet I will remind you guys it's cheaper than some other alternatives like the Surefire Warden. That's like $180, and I know a lot of people thought that was the bee's knees. You've got the Noveske Flaming Pig, which is kind of more direct thread, and I think maybe the first blast diverter that I saw. I've got another one right here I bought off Amazon. This is what I use on my 9mm. I think this was like $30. but it's direct thread as well. So you are paying for this ratchet system that uses the same system as your suppressor. So you do have some uniqueness in function there. Also, a con, which isn't really its fault, just by the nature of the device. There's a higher risk of lead exposure because obviously all the lead and debris that's being diverted forward, obviously it's contacting the insides of the blast out and getting kind of layered on there over time. I don't know if you guys can see, I've got some debris still on there. I didn't really clean it after I took it to the range. So just keep in mind when you're handling it and you're cleaning your gun, you want to take this off and put some solvent and some swabs and really clean out the inside, because the lead can kind of get caked on there. But then again, the concussive force I think the concussive force helps to kind of break some of that lead depositing from it as well. So I'm not really sure, if I never clean this thing, how much lead is visibly seen on the inside. It's just something to keep in mind. And that's about it. That's my review. I was kind of looking forward to having more panelists on the show tonight so they can talk about, is it really worth the money, get people's opinions. But Rob, do you have anything that's 51 tooth or anything from AAC?
I do not have any AAC suppressors in my collection. Most of my stuff is Yankee Hill, and I've got some other stuff from Mac Brothers and some other assorted suppressor manufacturers, a few silencer co cans. But the bottom line is, when it comes to that item, as long as you think it's worth it, it's worth it. Doesn't matter what other people think. If you like it, it works good. And I can tell you, there's been a lot of times I walked around the house with my rifle going pew 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 pew, mimicking the sound of the suppressors once I got them while they were in ATF jail. But I mean, that thing looks really nice because it looks like a good way to deflect the blast and make sure that you're being a good neighbor on the range. Because I can tell you, when I take my SCAR to the range, I get people give me bad looks because that thing does kick out a nice fireball at about 45 degrees on each side back, and it does irk people in the next lane over to my right and to my left. But where that would be good is there are some days, when I got my cans, there are some days I just don't feel like breaking the cans out and taking them to the range with me. I just want to go to the range and shoot my gun, and that will help, be a nice steward of the firing range and be kind to your neighbors who'll be sitting next to you. Because not everybody goes to like an outdoor range or a big range where there's room between people. A lot of times I go to the range, you're stacked in there, and there's a waiting line for people to get your seat. So as soon as you get it, somebody's moving in, so they don't have room to spread people out. So that will definitely, help you be a good neighbor on the range.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that say, why would you let AAC separate you from your hard-earned money when you could just change out the muzzle brake and then negate that problem? If you're going to the range, take your 2-chamber brake off, and so put like a regular bird cage flash hider on or something like that, so that you're not disturbing people next to you. Well, who takes muzzle brakes off and swaps them out depending on whether they go into the range or not?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, plus some of them are a pain in the butt, especially when you got to time them to get them looking. I like to have my stuff looking right, so you got to time it just to get it looking just right. And a lot of times I'll sit there farting around with the thing for 20, 30 minutes just to get it where it looks right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're paying for the fact that it uses the same ratcheting technology, and it's convenient to just throw it on, throw it off. You only need to buy one of these. Like the day when I took this out for testing, I shot my Devore without it, put this on, shot it with, and then I got my AR out that's got the same muzzle brake, shot it without, and then put this on, and just kind of experimenting with both rifles. And it's nice to be able to equip it on either one I want. When I get the suppressor, I'll basically be doing the same thing. I'll put the suppressor on whenever I'm actively shooting, and then if I want to shoot unsuppressed or I don't have it attached to the other rifle, I'll throw the blast out on, just because I really like the benefit of, it throwing everything forward instead of side to side.
Well, and say you like to go hunting. In Florida, they just legalized hunting with suppressors, I believe. In North Carolina, where I moved down from, it's been legalized for several years. Some states you can't hunt with a suppressor, and that the blast from your muzzle with that current brake you got on there, it could be kind of disconcerting when you're shooting it when you're in either a stand or a hide or something, to have that blast coming back at you, and that would definitely direct it down range where it needs to be, or where it's not aggravating you quite as much, or your
Exactly.
hunting buddies.
Yeah.
Or like say you go to another state that doesn't allow for suppressors. There are plenty of states where you can't take your suppressors to. That will help, again, be a good steward of the range. So, I mean, the bottom line is, I'm not spending the money because, again, I don't own an AAC product, so it doesn't appeal to me. But if you own an AAC product and you like to have something like that and you think it's worthwhile, who cares what other people think? It's not their money that they're spending. It's your money. And as long as you like it, go for it.
Yep. Well said. I do like it, and I find it comical to read what other people complain about, spending the money, but yet I'd love to take a look at their collection and see what they've spent money on. That
My grandfather used to say,
what?
you give them $1 million in gold bullion and they complain about the weight.
Everyone's got something to say, I guess.
You got it, brother.
All right.
So what was your score on that? What was your overall rating on that?
8.5.
8.5. Okay.
I mean, it does the job. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna move on to the product spotlight, and this is something for the AK owners out there. I actually saw this when I was making my rounds, checking out all the YouTube channels that I subscribe to, seeing what their new content was, and Tim over at Military Arms Channel just did this video of a left-handed charging handle for the AK-47, and I thought it was really intriguing. And I'm bummed out because it's so popular and it's just being made by, one guy at Davis Tactical Solutions, that they have very limited stocks, and there's a lot of sold outs on their website. So I was really bummed to see something cool, but yet it's not available to me. So it's called the Lynch, and Lynch stands for left-handed integrated non-reciprocating charging handle. So it's a drop-in top cover for the Kalashnikov rifle. They have it for Bulgarian AKSUs, Bulgarians, Polish Type 3s, the Russian AK, the Yugo M85 and 92, as well as the 70 and the 64 Yugos, Romanian AKMs, and some other AK variants. And it replaces the top cover, and he's just figured out a very almost like, wow, that was easy, simplistic way of getting left charging and having it being non-reciprocated. So actually I have my AK with me right here, and I don't know how well I'll be able to do this on camera, but if you own an AK, you obviously do take off your dust cover. If you look on the left side of your bolt, you'll actually see that there's a ledge, that's just forward of the port that your spring and your rod go into. On the left side, there's kind of a nice little ledge there, and he basically developed a modified dust cover that has a modified FN-FAL charging handle that actually grabs onto that ledge, and you're able to pull back and charge your bolt, instead of having to do what they call the AK roll and having to roll your AK around so that you can actuate the charging handle with your left hand. So I think it's really interesting, and it's really easy. I almost think that if you were competent as a machinist, you could make one yourself. But if you're not, you can get the Lynch from Davis Tactical Solutions. Doug Davis is the maker of that. So it's actually pretty simple. He takes unissued military top covers, and then all the components are new as far as the charging handle components. So then they do milling and heat treating. They laser weld on some components around that channel, and then they apply a Cerakote protective finish over the whole thing. So it's not like someone's just in their garage welding and cutting into a charging handle and then shipping it off to you. These are actually, they look to be very professionally made. The prices range depending on what kind of AK you have. And I don't know whether that's dictated by how easy it is for them to get the base unissued top cover or dust cover, or whether there's just extra machining that goes into each different variant. So my Romanian AKM looks to be $160. It is sold out though. If you have like a Yugo M85, that's $299, and then you get $100 off if you turn in the core. I'm not sure what that means.
The original, the part off your rifle. You send them your dust cover, and they'll send you the one back.
Okay, that's what I figured. That's what core. Yeah. So that's kind of nice. I can't imagine dust covers being worth $100, but
well, if they don't make that many of those type of rifles,
I guess that's true. Yeah. And they do have some that have compatible with Picatinny rail as well as a rear sight. So if you are running something like I have the ACARS by Parabellum Armament on my dust cover, obviously it wouldn't work because they're giving me a new dust cover, and ACARS is what supplied me with the dust cover that I have because it has the two teeth that integrate with that rail system. So I'm still interested in getting it just because I like left-hand, non-reciprocated left-hand charging firearms, and I think that the AK could really benefit from that. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot of money. They are, honestly, if it wasn't sold out, I probably would have ordered one already. But now that it is sold out for my AK, it almost makes me take a step back and think, do I really need that? I've been charging it and operating it all this time without the use of a left-hand charging handle. So
come on, Ryan, you know you want it.
Yeah, I know.
He's calling you, saying, Ryan, buy me, buy me, buy me.
I know. Well, after those pledges start rolling in, maybe I'll go ahead and order one in.
We'll do a fundraiser for Ryan to buy the AKM
that's right. Let's just crowdfund it, and I'll review the heck out of it for you guys. But I mean, that's you. Obviously, we've seen left-hand charging systems for the AR-15 done over and over and over, and some of them work really well, some of them don't. The AK hasn't really seen anything like that, to my knowledge. And the fact that this is so easy because it's literally almost compatible with every AK variant because they all have that kind of ledge that can be taken advantage of in that bolt. So I think that this might be something that I get. I'm still on the fence about it.
How come I know you want it?
Yeah.
I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, for $200, is it worth it to be able to just reach up and charge it versus having to reach under your rifle and charge it, or do that little twisty AK thing where you twist the rifle over to charge it?
Yeah, the AK roll. I mean, that's what I'm kind of used to, doing it that way. Mm. But if I had this on my rifle, I could get used to that and really enjoy it. So the charging handle itself, it does flip down, it does flip up, and it stays in that position. I in the video for Military Arms Channel, I don't believe I saw the handle flip down once you let it fly home to charge the round.
No, I don't think it did.
No, but the fact that it's non-reciprocating, it's not gonna, hit you in the face, or it's not gonna hit your other hand. It's kind of really nice to have that there.
Talk to anybody who's got a scar about that.
Yeah, right. I mean, but everyone wants the MP5 because it's side charging and it's cool that way. I mean,
no, they want the MP5 because it's got the little H and the little K on it.
Yeah, that is true. But roller block weapons are really popular, and because of the reason of it's got that left hand charging on there.
I mean, it looks like a really cool feature to put on an AK. And the nice thing about it is a lot of left-handed charging handles require either modification of the gun or modification of the receiver or some kind of modification. This is just take off your old dust cover, put your new dust cover on, go to the range and have fun.
Yep, exactly. If you don't like it or you want to switch it to another AK and you've got ones of the same family, it's no big thing. The only thing is if you have a side-mounted optic, you've got that rail that comes up from the side mount on your receiver. Obviously, that does interfere with that area. So if you have enough clearance, maybe you just leave the charging handle down while you have that optics mount on there, and then use the standard charging handle on the right side, and then take it off and use the left hand as needed. Or maybe you just don't need it at all if you have a dedicated optic that you run that way.
Yeah, I guess if you have a dedicated optic on top of your dust cover, it kind of defeats the purpose to not be able to use the left-handed charging handle if you bought it.
Right.
But the one thing, if you do watch the video, go all the way to the end, the last minute and a half, you actually see Mac just takes a bunch of sand and debris and also the crap drops it through that hole they cut in the dust cover, and the gun just functions just fine. So it looks like it's not going to, that hole won't affect the functionality of the gun.
I mean, he does that to reinstate that AKs don't care about dirt and debris like AR-15s do. I mean, if you watch videos of people that take the dust cover off completely and then they'll just put a peanut butter jelly sandwich like in the recoil rod and just shoot, and it'll just chew that sandwich up, or pouring any kind of pudding or any other food products on there to try and gum it up. It's a good system. It just works.
Now that's a waste of food.
Yeah. Well, the point is any dirt debris that gets in through that slot that's in the dust cover now that wasn't present before with the standard slot or dust cover, it doesn't matter because the AK is going to run no matter what. Or, I mean, I shouldn't say that. That's generalizing. At some point, it will fail. It's just going to take a lot of things to go wrong for it to fail.
Absolutely. Again, the nice thing about it doesn't reciprocate. You can fold it down when you're not using it. And again, the slot doesn't cause any issues with running the rifle.
Yep. So that's the only product I want to talk about this week. I knew this podcast was going to be a little bit of a shorter one, so it looks like we'll be under an hour this week. For listener feedback, I actually did get an email back from Terry, the infamous Terry that we kind of had a lot of interesting, I'd say fun. I didn't find it fun, but I don't want to point fingers and use you guys as scapegoats, but that episode did get more out of hand than I wanted it to. And it was my mistake for not editing out some of the reactions to his feedback. But anyway, we're not talking about that anymore. We're over that, water under the bridge. But he did email me back saying that he heard the episode. And although he was kind of disappointed with the way that it was received from my co-host, he said it seems like I really care about the show, and he's kind of just commended me on trying to improve the quality of the show. So if you're listening, Terry, thank you for continuing to listen to the show, and I hope that you like the new changes that we've made. And you're a good guy for being open and honest in my book. So
he's a good sport.
Yep, good sport. So moving on, the second is for everyone diversity shoot. Tony Simon would usually get on a soapbox here, tell you to get involved with your local Second Amendment groups. If you're in the New Jersey area, hit him up for going to that gun for hire range. Really great to get involved with a group that not only is about your Second Amendment rights, but your civil rights. And no matter the color of your skin, your color or creed, we all have the inalienable right to defend ourselves and bear arms. And he wants to encourage that by having everyone come out and shoot. So it's a really great atmosphere, and he adds a lot of credibility to this podcast and its side when he's not here. So check out Simon Says Train on Instagram, or Second is for Everyone on Facebook. I've been noticing he's been doing quite a lot of kind of like weapons spotlights on Facebook, talking about, you know, weapons or firearms that are fairly easy to find at any kind of gun store, and the pros and cons for each one, and kind of debunking kind of you know, common misconceptions about them. So it's actually been really fun watching his Facebook, and talking about, you know, high points and cheap shotguns and shotguns that you didn't know about that are actually kind of affordable for the use of home defense, especially in a state like New Jersey that has enacted laws that kind of limit just what kind of firearms you can own. So make sure you check out those links. The Fight Tyranny fundraiser, we're also plugging. So in response to the unconstitutional gun ban that the Massachusetts Attorney General dictated on the 20th of July, the Gun Owners Action League in Massachusetts is selling t-shirts to help fund their fight. So I got the link in the show notes. Just go booster.com/fight tyranny. They've got a really sweet shirt that says tyranny, it's back, and it's got the Fifth Amendment on the back of the shirt. $15. It's kind of a blue color, and they're just trying to raise money so they can fight this legislature. So with that said, we're going to wrap up the show. So send questions or comments to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember, subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Take it easy.
All right, y'all. Hey, don't get it twisted now.
That's right. Don't get it twisted, y'all. See you on the flip side.
Mm.